Hey there, Jacket fans, and welcome into this week's edition of the Jacket Football Show on the Jacket Buzz Network here at Alvin High School. We will cover your favorite team's football news, the Alvin Yellow Jackets. During today's show, we'll provide some insight from last week's thriller against Clear Falls. I'm John Barron, and to my left is the one and only Carl Spunky Gerjes. Carl, the Houston Astros are your 2017 World Series champions. How's it feel?
I tell you what.
You've been waiting for this for a long time, haven't you?
A long time. 62 was the Houston Colt 45s. I don't know, 55 years. I thought, well, if I died tomorrow, I haven't seen a World Series champion. Now I can die and I have.
Hey, you know what? I'm extremely pleased, as well as the remainder of Houston and the greater Houston area. So it's a fun time to be an Astros fan.
Is.
But you know what? On the Jacket football right now. We weathered the storm. And we prevailed.
Yeah, we did.
We in the end we get the victory and we please our home crowd. So it's a good week to be a Jacket fan.
You know, it was a pretty evenly matched game. Both teams, as I said, pretty evenly matched. Came down to the final possessions. Two big interceptions, one by Pedro Hernandez and then Blake Stillwell. Big plays ensuring the win. And then, of course, we had Aleric Hernandez, 2 field goals, one of them to tie the game. We weren't through. He had to kick the game winner, and he did.
And just for clarification, it wasn't Pedro Hernandez with the interception, but rather Pedro Garcia.
My fault.
We don't want to slide him now. Okay, he's a big guy. Well, you know, when you have 378 total rushing yards and 76 passing yards, you think that you're going to kind of win this game going away. But you know, there were some ups and downs, and you know with the referee calls and things of that sort. Now, I don't want to blame the refs, but at the same time, you know, there were some touchdowns left on the field.
Well, we did, and we lost one touchdown into the end zone. We fumbled into the end zone like that. Lobato, like you said, had a workmanlike game, just like he always does.
148 yards.
148 yards, one touchdown on only 19 carries. It was great to have Kobe Bailey back.
His first game back for 110 yards.
And that's another dimension that we simply haven't had the rest of the first part of the season. So it's great to have him in.
You are correct. And you can't forget about old James Smith. He had 11 carries for 87 yards. So it was quite the show that the Jackets put on for their homecoming crowd. But even more importantly, better for the homecoming crowd to see the win.
It was, and it was great to get it. And it was really, as you always say, and I know it's a cliche, but it was a team win.
It was. Well, when Carl and I return, we'll bring back head coach Robert Wilcox, and we'll jump into some plays so that we can show you all that happened in this Clear Falls homecoming thriller.
Texas is known for 2 things: football and barbecue. At Joe's Barbecue in Alvin, we support high school football. Show up in your school colors and you'll automatically get 10% off. Joe's proud to serve certified Angus beef. Joe's Barbecue. It's all about the barbecue.
Welcome back, Jacket fans. Today we're excited to have with us Pedro Garcia and Aleric Hernandez, 2 stars of this last week's game with Clear Falls, the 27-24 victory. Pedro, you're not exactly a running back, looking at you, big guy, but you had a heck of a game. Tell us a little bit about it.
You know, we just play like we usually do, play down line. You know, usually when we play down line, the tackles come a lot to you, man. You just make the tackle, wrap up, and that's how you play. And then you read keys. That's all you got to do on defense, man.
Team effort all the way through in that ball game.
Yes,
Pretty
sir.
evenly matched game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Now, let me ask you a couple of things about what you want to do. In college, you told me a moment ago that you might want to go into like a PA.
Yeah, like a more of a medical field type of job. Yeah. You know, it just comes to me because I like helping a lot of people, you know, and it's just one of the things I like to do.
Well, you ought to be pretty good at it because you're here on the football field on Friday night, so at least you know a lot about athletics.
Yeah, that's a lot of injury too, because I do get bruises here and there, you know.
Well, let's look at a couple of plays. You intercepted a pass that was instrumental, and tell us a little bit about it.
Well, right here, like I just played down line, read my key, stood to my left gap, stayed. He went by, and I just looked at the running back, and the ball came right to me. Just caught it, you know, and then started running. He got a hold of me in the back, so you know I couldn't run it too far. But I mean,
there you
I
go.
was there.
Well, let's try it again. See if we can run that play one more time.
Yeah, there we go. See, I stepped in my gap, you know, about a step, when he snaps it, though. Read it.
The snap. You're right in the
right
middle.
Right there.
Okay.
I was just reading the running back.
Now look, you saw the goal line. The flag is the goal line. You know that you could have scored there if you'd have just been just a little bit faster, right?
Nah, it's not that I was a little faster. It was he grabbed my back. Right when I caught it, he was right there.
But you had 6 on your mind.
Yeah,
okay.
I did. I saw green, and he grabbed me from the back, and I was like, oh, it was tough.
Well, heck of an interception, and obviously that led to a field goal, and
Yes,
we're going to
sir.
talk about field goals
Yes,
right
sir.
now. Let's bring in Aleric Hernandez. Aleric, good to have you with us today, too.
Yes, sir. Nice to be here.
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing here. You're a junior. You got another year left, so tell us about Aleric Hernandez.
I mean, pretty much all I do is football and soccer. I've been playing football since about 7th grade, and I've been kicking ever since. So it's pretty much all I do.
So you had 2 field goals in this game.
Yes.
One of them tied it, a little pressure pack there.
A little bit.
But that one that won the game for us, that was really the one that you had to have.
Yes, sir. That was win or lose right there on homecoming.
Let's see how those field goals looked. We'll play that tape right now, and let's see if we can see what Aleric does. Wrong tape, guys. Okay, tell us about this one.
I mean, it's a 25-yard field goal. It's not too long of a kick. And I mean, it's not just me doing that either. We've got our center and our holder.
Now, was this the winning field goal or the tying field goal?
This is the winning field goal.
This is it.
Yes, sir.
6 seconds left. You got it high enough. You got it far enough. Split the uprights.
Yes, sir.
As you said, the center is just as important, and so is that holder. So it's really a trifecta, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Along with that, I mean, you've got to have everyone blocking on the edges, too.
And they were coming in pretty quickly there because that was the game. Mm-hmm. So you had kicked one earlier to tie the game, 25 yards, and this was the 28-yard earlier. This was the 25-yarder to win it for us.
Yes, sir.
Guys, appreciate you being with us, and for that, you are the co-Yellow Jackets of the Week. That's the John Barron State Farm Jacket Players of the Week.
Call John Barron for all your insurance and financial service needs. He and his professional team have been serving clients in the area since 2002 and are big supporters of your Alvin Yellow Jackets.
Those were our Yellow Jackets of the Week. Senior defensive lineman number 43, Pedro Garcia, and junior kicker number 44, Aleric Hernandez. Coach, you're filled with a bunch of cool cats on your team. These 2 guys are no exception, but one that I want to name at the moment because I've got something right in front of me is this cool cat number 31, Jacob Herrera, our homecoming king. How about that? He was spotlighted at halftime. I mean, come on, you've got a lot of cool cats on your team.
And we got football players. We got homecoming kings. Man, we got all kind of stuff going on out there.
You really do. We appreciate you being in today again, as always, Coach. That was certainly an up and down game. What do you tell your team, and how emotional does your team get in a game like this?
I was really proud of our kids for hanging in. You know, we had roughly about 5 scores taken off the board. And
5 scores.
And our kids just hung in. They didn't get down. They just kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and they figured out a way to get the W. And I'm real proud of them for that because it could have been very easily when you get frustrated when you have a touchdown run called back and then an interception on a no call in the end zones and then this one and that one. It gets really frustrating. But our kids just hung in there and kept plugging away.
I'm not sure how many penalties were called or anything like that.
I can tell you if you want to know.
Well, no, I don't need to know, but I'm going to tell you what I did, and you can tell me that later. I talked to Bass yesterday, Coach Bass, the athletic director.
Yes, sir.
You've heard of him, okay?
My boss.
And what they had to do this week, they had to actually come out and repaint the carpet to get all of the yellow removed from the field, and I'm sure that it'll be in good shape when we play Friendswood in 2 weeks.
Well, hey, it'll be ready, but until then, why don't we go ahead and move forward and dive into some plays from last week's game against Clear Falls.
Absolutely. Well, here's early in the game, great defensive play. You're going to see Aaron Banks, number 17, come up, turn the play inside, and then you see Joey Roberts finish it off. We played really well on defense. At times, we played as good as we played. They really did a really good job.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row. Defensive had a great game against Dickinson. I remember you telling us that.
Yeah.
You felt like we kind of added on to this one?
I think so. I think we're getting better. I think we're getting better as a team each game right now, and that's what we should be doing.
Well, always like to hear that. Why don't we move on to our next play of the game defensively?
Yeah, this is a little fumble by them, and you can see a lot of Yellow Jackets there. I believe Carson Gonzalez is actually the one that comes up with the fumble, but there's a lot of them there.
That Yellow Jacket swarming defense again is impressive as we move on through the season. Why don't we move on to our next defensive play?
Well, yeah, we got another defensive play. Now, this is kind of interesting because it's Aaron Banks, who we mentioned earlier. Aaron comes up, makes a great play on the lead back, and knocks him into the running back who has the ball, who then fumbles, and then the lead back picks the ball back up. And then you can see we got several people. Joey and Carson are right there to make the play on it. But this was caused by Aaron again, coming in and doing what he's supposed to the lead block.
Give him 2 hits on that play then. Okay?
Yeah, and then he got hit again and again after the play.
Yeah.
Not entirely, luck is one thing, but skill and timing is always preferred. Why don't we move on to our next play of the game?
This is James Smith doing what he usually does, finds a little running lane, and then, turns on the burners. Guy had a little angle on him, and he wasn't able to get away this time, but James he just gets better and better. I'm really excited about him just being a junior and what all he can accomplish, next year too. But good run, and again, you see great blocks,
Kyle
open
Casey
things up.
with a good clearing block.
Yep. Sealed the end for James to take on 33 yards. Why don't we move to our next play?
I can't even tell you which guy gets to him. I think Pedro actually is the first contact, and then I believe both linebackers are there, and it's just, I guess the only thing I can say is that would be a swarm of Yellow Jackets.
Well, there you go. But we can tell who gets there last.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. It looks like he's flopping.
Looks like he comes off the top rope there.
Well, he's pancaking. Okay, that's exactly what it is.
I don't know.
Well, let's move on to our next clip.
Jack, it's just so good having him back. This was his third game to actually get back in there. And, Jack right now is probably about 90%. First game back, he's probably about 75 or so. And last week against Dickinson, probably up to about 85 or 90. But he's about 90, 95% now. And, usually once he gets down behind his pads and runs, he's usually going to run over a few people. 19
carries, 148 yards, one TD.
Sounds good to me.
Nice 14 yards there. And something you mentioned earlier, Coach, is that he's a chain mover.
Yes.
He gets the ball and kind of helps eat up the time. So that's nice.
Let's see. It only took 3 to get him down on that play.
Let's move on to our next clip.
Little play we put on last week to try to get Kobe free. It was great having him back because he has the legs to do some things that that we didn't have earlier, and you can see it right there. What is this one, like a
71 yards?
71 yards, yeah. And once he breaks the line, you're gonna have a hard time catching him. He can really run.
8 carries, 110 yards, and a touchdown, and really it gives you that, as you said, another dimension that you just didn't have for a few weeks.
Yeah, he, like I said, did a great job, ran the offense really well, and it's nice to see him back out there after about 5 weeks. 5 weeks of not having him.
Rocketing down the right sideline, and in fact, he fooled everyone, or you guys fooled everyone on that particular play. Even the cameraman was fooled just a bit.
Well, if you can fool the cameraman, maybe you can fool the defense too a few times.
There you go. Well, let's move on to our next clip of the game.
Well, Pedro's been working on pass coverage this year, so there he is.
Yeah.
He actually did a really good job, realized it was about to be the screen, stops his rush, settles on the line of scrimmage, and then waits for the screen, and there he is.
Well, in Pedro's words, it's a drill we run every day about sensing the screenplay developing. The offensive lineman let me go, and it just came naturally. How about that?
Hey, he runs about a 4.610, doesn't he? Something like that.
A 4.610.
Oh, shoot. Well, that was at least a 13-yard gain for Pedro.
I'll tell you what, he knew what to do with it when he got it.
Yeah, we were really excited over there. We sure were hoping he'd be able to drag a few more into the end zones, pull off his best Jack Lobato, and find a way to score.
There you go. Well, let's move on to our final play of the game.
This is for the win. Aleric had hit one earlier for the tie. And this one really, it's like I told somebody, this one really not a lot of pressure because we knew we had overtime. But right there, we get good snap, good hold, and he splits the uprights with it.
That's a point you made just then. You got to have the right snap, and you got to get it down before you do anything
Absolutely.
else. It's a three-point play.
Well, and then we got to make sure we cover our gaps up front.
Yeah.
And
you guys must have read the paper because I think Aleric commented in the paper that he had trust and confidence in his snapper and his holder, and that he works on it every day. So it was like clockwork. So
it worked.
There you go. Well, that concludes our plays against Clear Falls in review, Coach, and we appreciate your commentary as always. Always
Sure.
fun to have you. Up and down, you prevailed. It was a nice way to close out the game against Clear Falls.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What happens is like I mentioned before, you get a touchdown call back, and then you kind of get your heads down. But our kids didn't. They kept fighting through it, and I was real pleased with them. And that was the first time the kids felt good. After a game in a few weeks, and that makes us feel good when we see our kids happy.
Well, we've covered the plays against Clear Falls, and those were last week's games. But we move on to a new week, so don't go too far. We'll be right back to cover and preview next week's game against Clearbrook.
Texas is known for two things: football and barbecue. At Joe's Barbecue in Alvin, we support high school football. Show up in your school colors and you'll automatically get 10% off. Joe's proud to serve certified Angus beef. Joe's Barbecue. It's all about the barbecue.
Call John Barron for all your insurance and financial service needs. He and his professional team have been serving clients in the area since 2002 and are big supporters of your Alvin Yellow Jackets.
You just saw our play of the game. Junior kicker number 44, Aleric Hernandez, with a game-winning field goal from 32 yards out. Coach, it's great to have someone in your arsenal that can kick some field goals, put some points on the board. He had 3 PATs, 2 field goals in the game, 1 game tying, 1 game winning. You got to like that.
Yeah, our take has always been we need automatic points when we're inside the 20-yard line, and that was automatic. And that's always been my take on football. If we can make it an 80-yard field instead of a 100-yard field, then we're in great shape. And Aleric did a good job, and he's done a good job all year.
Well, he had 2 pressure field goals. Let's face it, not in the second quarter, the third quarter. We're talking about fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's. But again, that's some people relish on that. They like having that. That's it. Some people like that.
Well, that was a great way to close out that game and to put that one in the history books. Now, as we look ahead, we face Clearbrook. Another tough game, another tough district opponent. Give us some thoughts on that.
They're really good. They score a lot of points, and they've got 2 young men on offense that have committed, receivers that have committed, one to A&M and one to Baylor. They put up a lot of points, and defensively they bring people from everywhere, blitz on every down, and they're going to get us a couple of times, but by now nothing should be a surprise to us. We've seen just about everything, so hopefully we'll handle that, and hopefully we can get some stops on those big receivers.
24-6A has been a toss-up all year long.
Yeah.
Who wants it?
Okay, well, I know you guys have probably forgotten this, but about 6 weeks ago I said that this is the best district I have seen, and somebody's going to upset somebody every Friday night, and that's pretty much the way it's been.
Well, I couldn't agree anymore.
Yeah.
We've seen it through and through, week and week. So, we're going to hope that all of our Jacket fans will go out to Veterans Memorial Stadium tomorrow, support these Jackets, and for another win.
Absolutely.
As we move into our final game against Friendswood in the coming week.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have for you today. It's been it was a nice week to feel that victory, but tune in next week as we recap the game against Clearbrook, and as we preview the final district game against Friendswood. For Carl Gerjes, I'm John Barron. It's a great day to be an Astros fan, but an even better day to be a Jacket fan.